huge pet peeve right now. It's like what Congress is doing, getting in the way of us getting people in this country that want to fill those jobs, that want to work, that want to go to Silicon Valley, that want to go to other places and create jobs for Americans. What is wrong with the I'll say this, the Republican Party on immigration? Why can't they at least support expanding legal immigration? Because as you said, we desperately need it.
Look, Joe, I absolutely believe that we have to fix that part of the immigration system and others as well. And it's going to take a president who's willing to get in there and force compromise. And we haven't had one who's been willing to do that, put their political capital on the line to be able to force both sides to compromise. Because let's face it, what we've tried is we've had Democratic presidents like Barack Obama with huge Democratic majorities. In fact, with a filibuster-proof majority in the beginning of his presidency. We've had George W. Bush with Republican majorities. We've had Donald Trump with Republican majorities on the Republican side. And we've had Joe Biden with Democratic majorities at the beginning of his presidency. Neither party has dealt with this issue when they've had majorities in Congress. And so I hear what you're saying about my party, but I will tell you that the Democratic Party is just as guilty of not fixing this problem. And I believe the ultimate blame lies with the presidents I just mentioned, because it's only a president who can get those people into a room and say, here's what you have to give, here's what you have to give, and understand that he's going to pay some political price for whatever compromise that he forges, but it's going to be a long-term gain. Ronald Reagan did that when he was president. And I know there are some people in my party who no longer think Reagan was a real conservative. I'm old enough since my first vote at 18 years old was in the dorm room at the University of Delaware for Ronald Reagan over Jimmy Carter. And I remember him. I'm in the midst of writing a book about him right now. And I believe him to be the essential conservative of this movement still 43 years later. And he found a way on Social Security and on immigration, two of the most difficult issues this country has faced. It got fixed under Ronald Reagan because of Ronald Reagan. And if you want that to happen, then elect a Republican conservative from a blue state to be president of the United States who knows how to do this. That's what I'll do as president, because that's what Reagan did as president.
We've covered a ton of ground. We appreciate you being here for as long as you've been here. Just in closing, Republican voter watching you, I talked to people watching you in the CNN town hall and I said, there it is. There you go. That's the message I want to hear. But in the back of their minds, they go, I don't know if he can get there. Maybe they've dabbled in Governor DeSantis and said, oh, okay, he's not exactly who I thought he was going to be. There's almost a resignation from some people that at the end of the day, Donald Trump's going to be the nominee. What do you say to those people who do want something else? How do you climb out of where you are in the polling right now and become the nominee?
Well, the first thing I'd remind them, Willie, is that at this point in 2015, Donald Trump was at 4%. Nobody, and most particularly Jeb Bush, who was at 24%, and Scott Walker, who was at 20%, thought Donald Trump was going to be the Republican nominee for president. So there's a lot of campaign to go here. And I said this to a group of folks at the Reagan Institute this weekend in Aspen, because I got asked the same question by a member of that audience. And I said, you know, how many of you supported Jeb Bush in 2016 at this time? 2/3 of the room raised their hands. I said, let me ask you this. You know, how many of you in 2008 supported Rudy Giuliani at this point? About half of them raised their hands. I said, how about we decide this? You people suck at picking who the favorite's going to be. And they all burst out laughing. And I said, no, all of us do. Nobody, when Donald Trump came down the escalator, thought it was going to be him. And by the way, for you Democrats out there who think you've cornered the market, at this point in 2007, Barack Obama was 34 points behind Hillary Clinton. So how about, instead of trying to pick the winner now, and that's who I'll support, how about doing what you said some people did when they watched my CNN town hall and say, who do we want to be president? Who do we think has the common sense and the right experience to govern, to be president in these times? And then let's get behind that person to try to make them the president. Because that's happened before and it can happen again. You know, they said Barack Obama revolutionized online, fundraising because he had a great website. No, that's not why. It's because he had a message that the American people wanted to hear, and then they found his website to give him money. And so my view on this is you have to be patient and persistent. And remember this, on August 23rd, that first debate, I'll be there. And I believe Donald Trump will be there too, because I don't believe his ego will permit him for 1 minute to have anybody think he's scared to be on the stage with me. So he'll be there. And we'll be the only two people on that stage that's ever run for president before. That matters. I'm going to be patient. I'm going to be persistent. We're going to win New Hampshire, and we're going to win the nomination. And then we'll come back here after I'm the nominee, and we'll talk about this conversation. And it'll be good because you didn't say I couldn't win. You just asked me how. So you won't be made to look stupid then, will it?
Thank you. I appreciate that, Governor. We will hold on to the tape. As I said, we appreciate all the time you've given us this morning.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it. Republican presidential candidate Chris Christie, thank you very much. Good to see you.
It's great to be here with you guys.
Mika?
All right, we'll see you soon.